When you put your money into a mutual fund, it feels pretty simple, right? A few clicks and you're done. But what's happening behind the scenes is anything but simple. There's this whole ecosystem, a really complex, regulated machine that's built to manage and, more importantly, protect your investment. So let's dive in and meet this secret team that's working for you.
So, have you ever really thought about it? Who are these people? Who's actually making the calls on what to buy and sell? Who's holding on to the assets? And maybe the biggest question of all, who's really looking out for you? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the legal structure of mutual funds right here in India.
So where do we even begin? Well, it all starts with the legal foundation. See, you're not just investing in some regular company. The entire structure, the whole blueprint, is built on a very specific legal idea, a trust.
That's right, a trust. And pay close attention to that word on the slide, beneficiaries. In the language of the law, that's you, the investor. And the whole point of a trust is to manage assets for someone else's benefit. This isn't just some legal mumbo-jumbo, it is the absolute bedrock of investor protection.
Okay, so if it's a trust, who are the key players? Let's think about it like we're making a movie. You've got the people who come up with the big idea and the cash to get it started, and then you've got the powerful guardians who make sure everything is done strictly by the book. Everything kicks off with the sponsor. They're like the big movie studio. They're the ones with the vision and the capital to actually create the fund. They go to the regulator, that's SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, to get the whole thing off the ground. They are the originators of this entire production.
And right here, this is where it gets super important for you as an investor. The sponsor appoints a board of trustees. Now, in our movie analogy, these folks are the powerful executive producers. Their one and only job is to be your representative, to protect your interests above everything else.
This quote really says it all, doesn't it? And you'll see that term unit holders. Well, that's the official name for you, the investors. The trustees are legally required to be your ultimate watchdogs. They don't pick the stocks themselves, but believe me, they hold a ton of power over the people who do.
So how do they actually protect you? Well, they've got real teeth. They watch every single move the fund management company makes. They make sure every regulation is followed to the letter. They look over all the contracts, and they have the power to step in and fix things if they go wrong. And maybe most importantly, they report directly to the top regulator, SEBI. This is a powerful system of checks and balances right at the very top.
All right, let's get to the action. If the trustees are the executive producers, then the director calling all the shots on set, well, that's the asset management company, or AMC.
The AMC gets appointed by the trustees, and they're the ones responsible for all the day-to-day work. They're making the investment decisions, managing the portfolio. They are basically running the entire show.
And inside that AMC, you've got all these different departments. The fund management team, that's your creative core, the analysts and fund managers digging through research to pick the stocks and bonds. Then you have operations, the logistics crew making sure every single transaction is processed perfectly. And of course, sales and marketing, the team that actually promotes the fund to investors like us. But hey, even the best director and crew can't do it all by themselves. A successful movie needs a whole team of specialists, right? A mutual fund is exactly the same. Okay, now this right here is one of the most brilliant parts of the entire structure. It's called the separation of duties. You've got the custodian, think of them like a super high security vault. They physically hold all the fund's assets, the stocks, the bonds, but they have nothing to do with your personal info. That's handled by a completely separate company, the Registrar and Transfer Agent, or RTA. The RTA is like the ticket office. They manage your records. Why is this so critical? Because it means no single company has control over both the money and the list of who owns the money. It's a fundamental, absolutely crucial safeguard against fraud. And the specialist crew doesn't stop there. You've got independent auditors who come in and check all the accounting. You have distributors who actually help you invest. And you have collection bankers who manage the flow of money in and out. It's a whole ecosystem of separate companies, all working together, and each one has a very distinct, regulated role.
So, finally, there's one more organization that kind of brings everyone together and sets the professional standards for the whole industry.
And that's the Association of Mutual Funds in India, or AMFI. You can think of it as the industry's professional guild. It sets the code of conduct, it promotes best practices, and it runs all those investor education programs you see. It also makes sure distributors are registered and know what they're doing.
But, and this is a really important point to remember, AMFI is an industry body. It sets standards, it advocates for the industry, but it is not a regulator. The ultimate power, the real teeth, that belongs to the government regulator, SEBI.
So after all that, the sponsor, the trustees, the AMC, the custodian, the RTA, the auditors, why is it so detailed? Why all these layers? It all comes down to one single, powerful reason: to protect you, the investor. It's all about creating a system of checks, balances, and constant oversight.
It's a system that's been deliberately designed over decades with a single goal in mind: to put your interests first. This entire production, this whole movie, it exists for you, the beneficiary. So that question on the screen is really worth thinking about. Knowing this whole cast and crew is behind your money, does it make you view your investment a little differently? I hope it makes you feel a little more empowered.